Ian Glynn here with Touratech USA, and today we're going to install pannier racks onto our 2013 R1200GSW. You'll need some Torx, some Allens, a couple of open-end wrenches, some Loctite, and some anti-seize to complete this install. It's important to remember to apply anti-seize to the bolts that will be threading into nylock nuts for this installation. To begin, we remove the passenger seat and remove the 4 Torx bolts here at the luggage tie-down positions. I'm using a T40 Torx bit to loosen these bolts. With the bolts removed, make sure that these spacers stay in place on the bike. These drop brackets are marked R for right and L for left. For the throttle side of the bike, we'll use the right side brackets. The long bracket goes in the front position and the short bracket goes in the back. Remember to install the M8 washers below the brackets before you slide them all the way down. Now put the stock bolts back in these holes. Remember, the long bolt goes in the front. Do the same with the drop brackets on the left side of the bike. Be sure to leave these bolts just finger tight with some extra threads showing so that you can move the brackets around as you install the pannier racks. Now we have to loosen the bolts that mount the passenger pegs to the subframe. On the early bikes, a T45 tool has to be used. On later bikes, the tool changed to a T40. Don't remove the bolts entirely. When you've loosened both bolts enough, you'll have 5 millimeters of space in between the subframe and the passenger peg bracket. With the bracket loose, slide the forward end of the pannier rack over the bolt and then use the U-shaped spacer to fill the gap in on the forward position. Now you have to tighten the bolts again. Now we install the M8 bolts in the top 2 positions on the pannier rack. Make sure to apply a little anti-seize to these bolts. You keep a washer on the outside and then use an M8 nut with a washer on the inside. Now we're going to do the same on the opposite side of the bike. All right, now that we've got both side racks installed, we're going to install the rear crossbar. You'll notice that it's longer on one side than the other. The long side goes on the exhaust side of the bike. Use the M6 bolts and make sure that you put a little anti-seize on these. The crossbar installs behind the tab on the side racks. Okay, now we're ready to tighten all the bolts that hold on the rack. All right, now that the bolts are tight, the pannier racks are installed. We can put the passenger seat back on, and now you're ready to mount your Zega Pros.